It's something that I said a little earlier before everything started, and this pops up on my Facebook page. So true. It is. Unfortunately, there are people who don't believe in it.
That's how you get ahead in life.
We don't have it. That doesn't have a website. So everything comes to me.
We could trade in these mustaches.
No, he doesn't want to take it.
He wants to take it.
I told him, I said, I know, the superintendent. Did you, grandson think he's tired?
Tomorrow, yeah, he's leaving tomorrow.
I might set one up like a million. I only use.
Good for you. Sounds like he's all straight up.
Hopefully he doesn't get de-risky. He has a girlfriend now for the last 9 years.
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's gone. She was her fault.
He met her at Harvard. He hadn't seen anyone.
That was it, putting bad people. It was bad people. No, yes, yes, everything has been, always been, come to me, see if I do they want.
So those two people are not on the same path. They're not on the same path. Oh, hi. How you doing?
You did? Oh, good. Sounds great. Listen, my child's my director of finance.
Yes.
Oh, you were at the... Oh,
I want you to do it now.
yeah. That's good.
Good evening, welcome. Can I get a motion to be out of recess?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion on the table, properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. This is a continuation of item 15323, the fiscal budget discussion for 2024. This item was presented to the City Council by the Mayor Brian De Peña. And we're going to continue with the different departments that we have in front of us tonight. Today, June 1st, 2023, we have the Department of Public Work, Parking Enterprise Funds, Water and Sewer Enterprise Funds, the Cemetery, Inspectional Services. Within the Inspectional Services, we have the Public Health and the Licensing, Human Rights Commission, Public Library, and Greater Lawrence Technical High School. Without further ado, we're going to start right away with the Department of Public Work. If you look at if you're at home and you're following this meeting, this department is located on page 109 to 130. So, Director Jaime, please introduce yourself and proceed with the budget located on page 109.
Good evening, councilors. Jorge Jaime,
Public Works Director, 200 Common Street. I'm here in front of you to present my budget for fiscal year '24, and it's gonna be $14,012,781. There is not a lot of changes. Most of them are for contractual agreements and for bargaining. The other changes that you're gonna see is a few positions that I'm gonna mention to you, and I would like you to consider when you vote for this budget. And it's a loader operator for street department, due to the amount of hours that this position has to work during the snow removal. So I cannot let the department without loader operators, and we had to change it like every certain amount of hours. That's why I'm requesting for you to consider that position, and it's under the street department. So the other position that was approved but was removed for the last fiscal year 2023 is the deputy director. We want to fund that position again. So due to the amount of projects that we have, so we would like to have some help to continue, the improvement that we're doing with Department of Public Works. Also, I'm asking for a new carpenter under buildings and facilities. So now with 2 painters and the 2 carpenters, we adding a new one to that crew, we're gonna be able to continue some of the improvements that we're doing in City Hall. So if you go to some of the offices, we've been able to accomplish some work in-house, and we would like to continue doing that. So if you go to the Public Works offices, and if you go to Personnel Department, to Water Department, so we working on those offices, and we're doing some good changes, and we would like to continue doing that. That's why I'm requesting for a new carpenter to be able to accomplish more work. So other position that I'm asking for is a deputy director, but it's gonna be dedicated to parking, because we want parking to become, a department that brings revenue to the city of Lawrence, so to our budget, and we definitely need to put more attention on that. And right now, so we are having a tremendous demand on that department, and we would like to add a position to be able to, continue working and bring some more revenues to the department. You remember that during the the pandemic, nobody was paying for parking. That was stopped. So that's the time. Now is the time for us to go over and bring those revenues that we really need. So other than that, other changes are the contract with the trash company that is in the sanitation department, and it's contractual, so you already know that contract, you voted for it, and that's why we are increasing the funds to be able to comply with the contract. So if you have any questions, I'm open to answer them.
Councilors, any question in regard to this budget?
Question.
Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, Chair, through you. The Festival Director, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you guys have done throughout the year. It has been amazing what the DPW has been doing, and it still do. But the question that I have is regarding pay 116 in the book. And I might have the answer, but if you can elaborate on it. Maybe this whole page was moved to another page, but it looks like everything in this page was eliminated, and where did it go?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention about that. What we did was we consolidated. So what we had is a street administration and a street operations. What we did was we consolidated both departments, and we eliminated one page, to the next year budget. That's what we're doing there, so, but, and, yes, and 123? Yes, 116, yes, was moved to 117.
That's what it is. It was moved to 118, but I just wanted you to clarify, Director, of the move. Thank you very much.
Councilor Rosario. Councilor Infante.
Thank you. I echo what my colleague said. Thank you for everything that you and the DPW team have done, and I see the work. I do have a question regarding the Deputy DPW Director. Aside from parking, do you foresee any other responsibilities that this person may help you as a?
Yes, absolutely. As you may know, so we do everything. We're not dedicated to just one piece of the work. We have to do everything we face, and that's why we want to bring more, manpower to the team, because the amount of work and the amount of tasks that we have is big, and we need to put. We are right now in every corner of the city. I was talking with Ramona today, and we are spending a lot, but we have a lot of work, all around the city of Lawrence, every corner, every park, every, site that we are called, we there, and we definitely need some help. And that's why I'm asking for that. And again, it's not gonna be just dedicated to that specific section or to that specific department, but whatever others, assignments that we can assign to that position.
And we see the work, so that's why I'm like, it can't just be parking, because we see the job that DPW is doing around the city, and there's a lot of major projects currently happening, so just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Councilor.
Councilors, any questions?
Yep. Yeah, before we continue, I just also would like to mention in support of this, because I know that, once this budget moves to the full council, it's good to clarify to you as the Budget and Finance Committee that we have met with our state delegation as well as our federal delegation in terms of all the projects that we're requesting. The bridges that I think soon is good, now that the federal budget has been approved, or they're voting on it, and most probably it's going to be approved. One of our major requests is for the bridges. And that is going to be a separate project. We just met, as you know, with Senator Markey as well, Congresswoman Laurie Trahan, and also the state for additional infrastructure money. It's going to be impossible for one person as the director to do the work. And that's why the mayor has requested as well and supports the director with his request for additional funding. So it's not only what we are doing, what we have done in the past, but also what we are expected to do in the future.
Just on that line, are we expecting to build a new infrastructure, or are we expecting to repair the current infrastructure we have for the bridges?
The new infrastructure work, including sidewalks. I think there's another request coming to you pretty soon in the amount of $3 million. That you already have approved, but now we're expending the money, and we need to move forward with those.
No, but I mean, when you're talking about the federal
the funding.
the federal delegation, you are talking about requesting then for a new infrastructure, a new bridge in the city of Lawrence, or you are requesting them?
Well, for the bridges, we submitted what Public Works has identified as those that are mostly urgent repairs that needs to be done. I think part of that you also know. I'm not going to mention all the specifics because I don't have the list with me, but those are 5 bridges that are in urgent repair. I think one of them is from the state, but the others that we have requested is on the list that we submitted for the federal government. In addition to that, we have the sidewalk repairs that we have requested additional funding for it. Some of the projects that we have listed are currently not being supervised by DPW. What we have outsourced. What we are trying to do is to make sure that we can hire our own city engineer, and as part of that, you know, that they supervise. Why do we need an additional project manager to supervise something that the city can supervise and save money? And some responsibilities are part of the director, but in terms of having a deputy director, he can monitor some of the other projects that are part of it.
So that position is union, right?
No.
It's non-union.
All right, let me ask something to Mark. So Mark, a long time ago, we have this position in the budget, and we didn't put for funding for this position for quite some time. Now we're bringing it up again. And I remember back then, that it was before I was in the council, that we had somebody on that position, and based on how the budget work, if we fund the position, we need to bring that person back to work for the city of Lawrence.
There's no, that position hasn't been funded since, I think it was 88 or, I think it was in the 80s, maybe sometime in the 90s is the last time it was funded. And the position was, I think the position was vacant. I'm not exactly sure, but my understanding was the DPW director eliminated the position and then split the pay. He took on extra duties along with the supervisors in the department. There are 4 or 5 supervisors. They all got a pay increase by eliminating that position.
I know, you know, the history behind a little bit, but I mean, those are other discussions.
Well, before I got here, I got here in 2011.
It will be worth it to find out about that.
Okay, I'll do that with our city attorney and also personnel, but that hasn't been brought up to our attention.
Yeah, in other words, there's nobody that was laid off, so that would be coming back, but it's not a union
And
position.
actually, it was somebody laid off.
Yeah.
Because it was no funds. So,
Yeah. So,
but I mean, let's do some research about it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we actually putting funds on that, because that was the hesitation before. But if that's the case, I'm not opposed of having somebody there with the expectation that he's going to supervise and do work on the field more than administration. Because what has happened is that, you know, we have a good amount of people working on the street, but if we have new hires, it will be preferred to be where the needs are, and the needs are up there on the street working, doing the supervisions, doing a lot of the work that we haven't been done in the past, perhaps doing the inspections for the street when we pave, when we do the sidewalks. We also need to check on the quality of the products that we utilize. And that's something that any other organization do. That's something that I personally do on a daily basis. And I know the importance in terms of longevity, that we don't see it right there at the moment, but we can see 5-10 years from now the effect of not having quality control on a project, and it's essential. And unfortunately, I'm seeing projects happening in the city of Lawrence that for years we don't have the supervisors to go up there and do proper supervision, other than just watching that it's been done. It's been done on time. And that's important. When it gets done on time, that's important. But when it comes to quality control, it's more just the time than timing. And having those expertise in place, hiring somebody that have knowledge about those expertise, it will be essential for the longevity of particular projects that we have in the city of Lawrence and any other particular city. That's important. That will make the difference between having to redo a project in 10 years or having to, go for the span of the life of that project, which it could be all the way anywhere between 20 to 25 years. But I mean, it is essential to have those expertise in place, especially at the DPW. The DPW is one of the departments that are, or I believe, it's a department that make people happy. When we have the two other departments that are extremely important in the city of Lawrence, people don't want to see it at their street, or people don't want to see it at home, which is the firefighter and the police department. I mean, you don't want to see the firefighter around because it's something happening. But when you see the DPW fixing things up, you get happy and you see your money worth a lot. And it is important, extremely important, to have expertise with that type of supervision, knowledge and stuff like that. Every time, this is the first time I see in the DPW getting people added to the budget, new employees. Every time before that we have the budget discussion, not every time because I've been here for 8 years already, that's crazy. But I mean, most of the time when you see changes on the DPW is because we got in positions. We cut the cement finisher, we cut the tree trimmer, that cut all the trees because we outsourced those funds, those projects, and we paid tons of amount of money to do it up with the outside companies. But I think it's important to have light work being done in house and proper supervisions on different projects. So I definitely support the initiative of getting people in, do project in house, but make sure that we have people up there doing the supervision and get them trained. There is a lot of different organizations that actually provide training for this type of work that you guys are doing on a daily basis. I appreciate the relationship we have, Director Jaime. Every time I call as a counselor or as a civil engineer to give you advice in some aspect that I see, not expecting you guys to do anything, just whatever you can. And you guys always respond, and I highly appreciate that. At the end of the day, we're all working towards a better city, and the DPW is an extremely important department for the city. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, any questions in regard to the DPW budget?
Just only wanted, through you,
Councilor Levy?
only want to say thank you. So the city is having a lot of change, and I think so that people can see it. So, and this is because of the good job that you are, and all the people who are with you are doing at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions in regard to the discussion for the DPW budget? I hear none. Thank you so much, Director Jaime. The next departments that we have, we're going to be discussing the parking enterprise funds. It's located on page 160 to 163 on the budget book. So we would like to discuss that. Anybody from the parking enterprise funds?
Yes. So parking, we don't have, yes, we don't have many changes. We already discussed about the deputy director dedicated to parking, but there is no really many changes on that. It's balanced. The budget. Yes, it was funded.
I see a change of, well, the deputy DPW director is going to be under the parking fund.
It's gonna be under that budget, yes, on the parking division.
So the changes that we see at the DPW department, it doesn't correspond to the deputy DPW.
So there'll be two. There'll be two
Okay,
deputy
let's talk
directors.
about that.
One's on the DPW side to help with all the divisions that Jorge has, and the other one's gonna be assigned to parking, to make sure the parking garage and the lots are back up and running.
So it's not level funded, we have a new position and we have a couple of changes, right?
Yes.
So it's gonna be two deputy DPW director,
Yes,
one for the parking and the other one for the operation of the DPW.
yes.
Okay. So, it is important to recognize that part of your salary as a DPW director come out of these funds, a 10%.
Yeah, and there is a
Salary.
percentage that come from parking, other from DPW, from water department.
Yeah, it's important to recognize that it is under the DPW's umbrella, the parking funds, and also the water department, as well as the,
Yes,
as the, what was the other one you mentioned?
sewer, water and sewer.
Water and sewer, and, okay.
Streets,
So
parks,
80% come from the budget of the DPW, and then 10% come from the parking funds, and then the other 10% come from the water and sewer, correct?
That's correct, yes.
10% is the parking, I think might be 25 or 30% in the water.
Water
Let me
and
just
sewer.
look. I can't remember the percentage off the top of my head. It's in here somewhere. Where is it? Let's see
Yeah,
here.
but it is a percentage of every one of those divisions.
25, okay. So 25%, still don't see it.
So 35% is from different funds, parking and the water and sewer, and 65% from the main budget of the DPW. All right, councilors, any questions in regard to the parking funds? So, for the main discussion at the city council, when we actually send this up to the full council, we'd like to get, I mean, all the numbers are here, but probably it will be helpful to have each garage and probably have a spreadsheet of those, so we can have that information attached to.
I can send that to you in advance if you want.
Yeah.
Right?
So on these parking funds, we have the Bread and Roses parking, which is the previous former Muslim Square garage. We have how the people name, what's the name of the bus? The garage? The Buckley garage.
Yeah.
We have all of the parking around City Hall,
The
Nexus
lots,
Street,
Common,
Common Street,
Methuen,
Methuen
Hampshire.
Street, Hampshire, and all those funds generated at those parkings are corresponding to this fund,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
Nothing related to ticketing or parking in the street.
That's separated.
That's separate. Councilors, any questions in regard to the parking lots and garages enterprise fund? I hear none. Thank you so much, and I see you at the full council. The next department will be the water and sewer enterprise fund.
Good evening, councilors.
Name and address for the record.
It's William Hale, Water and Sewer Commissioner for the City of Lawrence.
Billy,
Tonight,
welcome.
thank you. I'm going to present tonight the fiscal year '24 budget in the amount of $20,921,300. We didn't make very many changes. There were some minor changes in salaries. There were just adjustments that I had to make that were incorrect from the previous year, and a few salary increases It's pretty much level funded. Question?
Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Before I ask my question, I do want to say, because we have the superintendent of GLTS here, Commissioner Hill is a GLTS graduate, so just wanted to point that out there.
Thank you.
But for, my question for you, Commissioner, is under intergovernmental, I see that we are eliminating a little over $1 million. Can you, and it's for other assessments, can you elaborate what other assessments mean?
Sure, so we pay an assessment to Greater Lawrence Sanitary to take the sewage from our collection system and it gets treated at North Andover. So this year is different than previous years. We used to have, you know, a few $1 million in the bank. We would use that money to supplement the budget. So this year, we're taking that $1 million out until we get our certified retained earnings in November, and then we will take that money and then appropriate it back towards Greater Lawrence Sanitary.
Thank you.
Can you go slowly on that? I want to take some note.
Can you repeat what you just said, but slower?
Sure. So we supplemented our budget the last however many years with money that we had in the bank because we didn't increase our water rates. So this year, we don't have that money in the bank necessarily because we only got certified at $114,000. We have more than that, but it doesn't get certified until later in the year. So once it's certified by November, we should have that money, then we can come back to council and have that reappropriated for the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District.
There's any questions? I would like to ask you a few things. In regard to the sanitary commissions, we have 4 members
Yes,
on that commission.
yes.
All right, who are by statutes, who are those people? I know the DPW, you are, those are 2,
And then
who are the
2
others?
elected officials from 2 appointed community members that the mayor.
And right now, who are those?
Tom Connors and Joe Quarteroni.
We just have the discussion to reappoint them. So, the Sanitary Commission, it's an organization that that serve the different cities and towns around.
Yes.
That's North Andover, City of Lawrence, and what?
Salem, New Hampshire, and Drake.
And Drake. And what's the main purpose of the commission?
So years in the 1980s, the sewage used to just flow down into the river, so they built interceptors to intercept the sewage from going into the river with massive, like 96-inch pipes that you can walk through. We send the sewer to them to treat it, and each community forms a board. They appoint the members to oversee the executive director of that facility.
All right. Any questions in regard to this budget? So on the debt service, I see that you have a negative $102,000.
Yeah, so that payment's going down by that much for this fiscal year. Next August, we have a drop of $750,000. The water treatment plant loan will be coming off the books. That was a 20-year loan from 2004.
So that gonna allow you guys to actually take some other loans to be able to do more repairs
Yes,
without the need of increasing the water and sewer?
correct.
That's the plan?
That's the plan. Yep.
All right, what is the plan in the future? Like, how many millions are you gonna be able to get with that $800,000 a year?
We're
availability?
probably gonna go for some type of a loan authorization around $5 million to cover multiple years. Right now, we're just under the EPA mandate, so we have to invest about $600,000 a year for our sewer system, so that's a top priority. So we'll be going out and putting a performance evaluation. It's due by August 11th, so it'll be somewhere around that $600,000 to cover for a full year.
The last 10 years, we have invested a terrific amount of money to bring those sewers, water and sewers infrastructures up to code. What is the estimated amount of time that we have spent in the city of Lawrence in the last 10 years? Perhaps a good estimate.
How much we've spent? About $105 million.
And that's 105 million. So in the
That's
last,
total, it's about 15 years worth of work for that amount.
So in the last 15 years, we have invested $105 million to actually get our infrastructure for the water and sewer up to code sometime and sometime to just renew all different projects that are needed in the city of Lawrence.
Yes, that's correct. We're gonna focus on stormwater too, that's coming up. So we have a grant that we were accepted for $215,000. So we're gonna be matching that grant with in-kind services, which means we do some work and then we will put $66,000 in cash for a total of $215,000. So that's already approved and that's gonna be moving forward this later this
Can
summer.
you repeat the focus?
Yep, stormwater asset management. So we're gonna do more documentation of all our stormwater infrastructure, all the separated pipes in the system. We were focused primarily on the sewage side of it, so now we're gonna go into stormwater.
So now that I have you here, we have a huge issue in my district that I want to bring up. And I have talked to you before. You probably know what I'm going to be talking about. And that's on Water Street. All of a sudden, anywhere between 2 to 6, we have a great amount of disposal and smell that goes around that entire area. And the mayor have the complaint before, I have the complaint before, and I'm pretty sure the councilor for District C will get that soon because it's fairly close to that location. At some point, the situation, we never follow up to see what was the main problem there. There is anything that we can set up perhaps to open the discussion again in the next few weeks so we can actually get to the bottom of the problem and be able to offer a solution, or if there is anybody responsible for it.
Yes, I've followed up, so I've talked to the building commissioner and the ISD director. I've given them the reports that we generated. So we had consultant engineers look into that. I gave them those reports. They were gonna go into the building and do some type of testing and interview people. I don't know. I can get back to you on that. I know they were definitely doing something with that, so.
Can you share those reports with me, please?
Sure.
And if you need to, we can bring them up to the full council and have the discussion at some point over here in public.
Okay, yeah, this was done back, and the study was done in like 2020. So I have two different scenarios of what to do. They're both north of $500,000. So that's what the main object would be, is make sure that the city is the one that's contributing, not the private business. So we don't want to go and invest money into something that's being caused by a private company.
Exactly, because the main problem, I'm pretty sure that you know, the main problem happened when they come back from actually doing work and start doing the whatever they do at the facility.
Yep.
So it's like essentially they have something to do with somebody, because at that time specifically, it's not like it happened the whole day. It's only happened after 2 p.m. And it sounds crazy that, you know, we're not able to actually get into the building to see what they're doing. They deal with that type of water and sewer as well.
I'm happy to follow up with that, and Director Alfonso is here as well, so I'm not sure if he might have some information as well. I know, I just spoke with him about it about a month ago, so.
Let's follow up with that conversation so we can have a better indication as of what's the problem. I remember reading a report and it's like one side was investigated, not the other side, or not both sides. So I think it will be important for the people living around that area.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions in regard to this? Any questions regarding to this budget? No councilors have questions, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next item that we have tonight is the cemetery. If you look at the page 131 to 133, you're going to find it there.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you. I'm Carmen Lopez from Bellevue Cemetery, the director, and thank you for your time. I'm presenting to you a level-funded budget with maybe 3 changes, all in personal services, a total of $94,866. We're hiring an HMEO, an assistant director, and there was a change based on my salary of $10,000. If you have any other questions, you can ask.
Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Hi, Director. Can you, I see here under the positions that it looks like we're eliminating a foreman.
The position was transferred. I have a foreman, but it's loaned to me from the DPW.
Got it. Thank you. Oh, wait, follow-up question. Sure. So what are we, is there a plan? Do you need a foreman? Is there a plan?
Absolutely. So what I did was what I'm doing is for the cemetery, just in all transparency, I'm trying to activate these positions that are not being created. Those positions back in 2011 were eliminated, taken away due to funding from the cemetery. So I'm trying to reactivate them because we do need them.
Thank you.
Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Director, most of the time what I have is a comment, and part of my district run through your cemetery, and at the beginning of you being appointed, I had a lot of complaints, but lately what I've been having is compliments, which I had a conversation earlier with somebody from the mayor's office, and I'm pretty happy with the change of the cemetery. The implementing of the Christmas tree in Christmas brought up a great conversation on the lighting, and we have a conversation, or maybe bringing a bigger tree. And last Monday, when we had the Memorial Day ceremony, the cemetery looked actually great. So I think whatever you guys are doing, it's a great accent to the cemetery now. Again, back in the beginning when you took over, there was a lot of complaints, and I think you took it over. It was winter time, and there was a lot of getting it together. But what I'm getting, it's good compliments out of the cemetery, and I'm pretty happy because it's part of my district. So I want to congratulate you.
All changes are hard. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions, Council?
Yes. I have a question. I'm going to follow up with Councilor Rosario has mentioned. At the beginning of this administration, we changed the fact that we were closing the doors at some period of time. That never happened before. And I just have a conversation with the president of the board for the cemetery. And we were discussing the possibility of having those doors open as per request. If somebody that is coming out of state and wanted to visit, their loved ones, it will be extremely difficult for them to do so if the cemetery already have closed. And I was asking her to see if we have the possibility of have request, people that wanted to visit, they can call the cemetery ahead of time within a specific amount of time that is doable, and perhaps open those doors and be able to allow those people to visit the loved one during the time that the cemetery have door closed.
I think that's a great idea, and that's doable.
Okay. I think that at the end of the day, we need to be available, and if that costs, the city money,
It
at
does,
least
because
we're
it'd be
saving.
overtime for the
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah, at least we're saving we're saving on the previous issue, which was basically all the people getting in and destroyed all the things that we need to repair. So, but having that availability of perhaps having a phone number on the website, if you need the cemetery to be open after close, so can you call this number and make an appointment, and so people can have that opportunity to actually get in and get out during some period of time. So if you can follow up with her, I discussed with her, or if you can take on that project and be able to post that phone number or email on the website to have, cemetery and visit request during the time that the doors are closed, we can do so through this email or this phone number. That would be great.
Thank you.
Right. Another question that I have, the position of the cemetery director was something that we changed to in my time. And the salary increasement to $85,000 was something that we discussed. It's been ordinance at that level. So are we planning on bringing that back to change to the salary, to the new salary? Maybe more to the administration, that would be more essential.
I can answer that question.
Yeah,
It's
I
al-
understand.
It's already been approved in the non-union compensation plan that
Okay.
the city council approved. So the position is rated I think it's a C or a D. Can't seem to find it, but it's right here somewhere. Oh, it's ranked as a C, recommended range of 81.9 to 124.8. Grade C, yes.
All right, councilors, there is any questions in regard to the cemetery budget? I hear none, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item that we have in front of us, the next budget item, is the inspectional services. Within that, if you look at the page 90 to 98, you're going to find the inspectional services budget on there. So, Director, welcome, and name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Alfonso Garcia. I'm the Acting Director of Inspectional Services, and I would like to present to you our budget for the fiscal year 2024. I would like to start by comparing our expenditures with the revenues of the department. And as of April 10, we have spent 1.1 million, and we have collected $1.9 million. And my projection for the end of the fiscal year on June 30th is going to be about $2.4 million collected by inspectional services. That is because many ways to collect money in inspectional services have been changed in terms of service to the public. And we have created a good relationship with the taxpayer in terms of coming to the office looking for services. And that's why we have just minor changes. And I'm going to start by describing to you those small changes that we have in the budget. We have the department, not department, but the division of health services. In that division, we need a new nurse because the administration plan is to bring best services, health services for the city of Lawrence. And we have to hire a new nurse. But for that, that particular position is going to be covered, refunded by a grant. So the increase in the budget in that division is 0. We also have eliminated 2 positions of principal account clerk because we need to change the nature of how the clerk's office is working. We have 3 clerks that are dedicated to serve the public. Today, they are doing a great job in terms of receiving many taxpayers that come for services to the office. Sometimes we have lines, and we really are trying to direct our services in a better way to the public because there were many people complaining about that. We still have complaints, and that's what we are doing, trying to do. But before, the clerks were used to do the reviews of the inspections application and the permit and licenses application. And now that work that belonged to the inspectors, they have to do their own review, and then there is a person that is going to be dedicated just to manage the workflow in terms of and monitor the inspector when they go down the street to find a violation and to give services to the people. That's why I am requesting a position that they call it assistant director, and I think the position sounds too difficult for what I really need. I need because the director, when I say I'm talking about anyone in charge of ISD, is going to need to be more proactive in terms of the public coming and the public needing services. The director today met about 15 or 20 people that come looking for services. According to what I have known, the director before had time to be in the office, answering email, and receiving the inspector when they come for advice. In a better organization, we need a person that is going to be like a lead inspector to assign the work to the inspectors and monitor what they do.
Very quick, before you continue. You mentioned that the account clerks or the senior clerks?
Yes, that position.
Those positions are been eliminated and they're going to become something else.
Yes.
But before you continue there, so those are the people that actually receive the public to provide them information when they come over?
No, there are 3 more clerks. They were calling clerk the licensing board clerk, and we are requesting a position as a coordinator, a licensing board coordinator. Why? Because that person have to organize all the meeting in the licensing board, not only organize the meeting, but conduct the meeting, do the minutes, and have a relationship and contact with all the businesses that have a liquor license, that have a common victualler, or those dealers. And there are about 400 businesses that person have to send letters, phone calls, emails, and it's a lot of work. And then that person, we decided just to convert the principal account clerk that person was, in terms of become the coordinator for the meetings, for the licensing board, a person that really received, even from the ABCC in the last meeting we have, they recognize there that he is doing a great job.
Quick question on that. Is that person a union member? In the previous position?
Right now, it's a union position.
And as a coordinator, is not going to be a union?
It won't be a union position, according to what I thought. Mr. Arianello can add in that sense. But the idea is to take him in a new position to be in charge of all those services.
Interesting, okay. So it is important to recognize that the previous salary for that position was $48,554, and the new position is going to be $65,000.
65,000, just 16,444 for the difference.
Yep.
For the teams.
And that position will not going to have the protection of the unions, I guess. But I mean, that's fine.
No, that
right.
won't be a union position.
You might continue.
Yes, the next one is the next change is going to be the what we need. I was thinking about a office manager, but that position doesn't exist in the city hall. And then we put the supervisor, but it's a office supervisor, a person that is in charge of all the account receivable services, is the person who receives all the payments, even from the fire department, all the payment that go to Citizen Serve and the application that they file. That person has been doing that. And this is a work that does not belong to her, but she hasn't done it, and she's going to continue doing it. That person also is going to be supporting the commissioner, building commissioner, and the ISD director in administrative matters. For example, if we need a letter, a document, or something, that person won't be a secretary, but it's going to be very helpful for both department, both supervisor. That person is going to be in charge of supervise the clerks. Yeah. There are 3 other clerks that they are going to be supervised for that particular office supervisor.
All right. Do you have a question? So you have the floor.
Thank you, through you. Welcome, Director. Director, those positions, they sound great. They're going to do a great job. Absolutely, I agree to it. But they own 8 to 4, 9 to 5 position. All the violations occur at night. I don't see any proposal.
Point of information, also Saturdays and Sunday.
Okay. I don't see any proposal here in this budget that is telling me that inspection of service is going to work at night or it's going to work weekends, which I was hoping to see, which most of the illegal construction happen overnight. Most of the illegal construction happen on the weekends. Working with the food trucks, it's nights and weekends, but love the proposal of clerks, supervising clerks, but who's going to supervise out there the illegal constructions? Who's going to supervise out there the illegal trucks? Who's going to supervise out there the illegal things that's doing overnight and on weekends when all of them know the inspection of service is closed on those days? So can we talk a little bit about that, Director?
Yes, we have been doing some work. As you know, the overtime is really controlled by the budget. We have in different sub-departments, when we mix all of them, we have about $30,000. We have planned for this summer, for this time in which everybody is down the street, and the food trucks are creating a lot of problems. We created a group of 5 inspectors that has been twice going over the weekend, and in just one day, we found 33 violations, 33 in construction, illegal construction, those that you mentioned. But what happened? The budgets right now, we cannot continue if we don't find a way to put some money for that particular article. But I think the overtime money that we have, if it's well administered, I think that can serve for that.
But Director, why do we have to do the work on overtime? Why don't we split the department? Why don't we split the work? Why don't we split those new positions that we created and just put 9 workers, 9 inspectors? Why does it have to do always on overtime? Why do we have to come down and ask for overtime money? Again, we need to be proactive and think ahead or think of what exactly is going on out there. Besides, you create all this great position that is going to do great for the department, but it's going to do great 9 to 5 inside City Hall when we don't need them inside City Hall. We need them out there. We need them out there finding the violations. The inspectional department is one of the most important departments that we have. And as you say, you went out one night and you collected all these violations and all this money came down, right? Because all these violations. So with that, blink a light and say, you know what? We need to do some work at night. And it's going to generate money to create a bigger budget. And it's going to create I'm going to put it like this, it's going to create a fiasco to the violators out there that we out there all night. Everything happened when the department is not working at night and on the weekends. I would love, this is the budget and it's already here, but eventually I would love to see a proposal that says, you know what, we create 10 positions, but those positions are going to be level funded, budget funded, and it's going to work at night. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, is not doing it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Rosario.
Let me answer some of the question. That would be a great idea, Councilor, but this is a union matter.
You created a non-union position right now. You should have created a non-union position to work at night.
No inspector.
To me. But that's, again, we need, and I'm sorry that they talk over you.
Give me one second. Mark, we have a question that you might be able to answer since you're the one dealing with the unions. So, Councilor Rosario concerned, I mean, I have the same note here. We asking for somebody that work under the unions for the inspection services to supervise during the weekends and off hours. There is a way that we can split those workers, or they're just entitled to work from 7 to 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, as Alfonso just mentioned, that would have to be negotiated with the union and have, change the work schedule of the inspectors, or probably pay a shift differential similar to police and fire and DPW. They work different shifts. They get an extra bump in their pay for working a late shift or working a Saturday, changing somebody's schedule from Monday to Friday to Tuesday to Saturday. We just have to negotiate that with the union.
It's a possibility.
We haven't negotiated that with the union. I'm sending down the new inspector's contract is coming to the council. I sent it down today.
You send it out to us?
Yeah, it's coming down
for approval. All right, we're going to be looking at the schedule. I guess that if we don't fund it, and then you guys need to go back to the table and negotiate.
I suppose we could, but but we didn't bring that up in our negotiations. If that's something the council's looking to do, we'd have to reopen those negotiations and see if we could do something. I'm not sure the union would be amenable to that, but we could approach the subject, I guess.
Councilor Rosario?
But in that note, I mean, the union, according to what I see, again, you guys are the expert when dealing with the union and all that. But the union does not complain when we create position that is not non-union. So why don't we create positions that are non-union to work for the needs that actually the city needs? I mean, he might need help up there, and I respect that. But, I mean, what the city actually needs, can we get a vision of what we actually need? It's not what they need up there, it's what we need out there. I mean, inspectional services is inspectional service. You got to be inspecting out there. If you realize that all the violations that happen at night, inspectional service needs somehow to change the hours, or if you're going to create non-position, try to create non-position. I don't know how that works, to be honest. Try to create non-position that it's going to work the hours they actually need to be out there. Violations are out there in hours that the inspectional service is not working.
Well,
And at the end of the day, let me tell you one thing that is funny, and with all the respect, Director, they don't call it the Inspectional Service Department. They call it the Happy Birthday Department, and I wonder why. I mean, to me, as much as I love you, and I love the job, and I love your passion that you do, but, I mean, it's called the Happy Birthday Department. And they told me, you go up there, and it's a birthday every 15 minutes. And all the violation out there, it's going on and on and on and on. And this is one of the most important departments. And when you took over, it's working a little better. But why don't we implement that? I mean, let's celebrate the happy birthday at the Jumping Happy Found City, whatever. And let the inspectional service work and do their work. I've been sending emails to the inspectional service because it was a fire in my street 2 months ago. We have a campaign out there to clean up, right? And we're telling people that we'd be rat infected. But those debris is still there on my street where I live. And I've been emailing the inspectional services and nobody has sent me an answer. So, and again, I drive at night and I see everything that happen at night. I wake up in the morning and I see constructions that I never seen ever, never in any city. And it wasn't there this morning, but as soon as I went to bed, and I went to bed and wake up the next day, here's the building, a 3-story building there. So it means there is nobody at night, is nobody working, and again, bargain agreement, unions, all that stuff is great, and we got to do, and we got to follow the law. But why don't we create a vision that violators are doing it overnight, violators are doing it over the weekend? Why don't we change that thing? We stop having happy birthdays. Let's do birthdays on a Tuesday or whatever, but you got to work Tuesday night. Do it a Tuesday morning, and we celebrate all you think. But at night, we're going to go and inspect, and we got to do our job. Because violators know our hours of work. So we need to try to outsmart them. And I don't see any report or anything trying to change none of that. And again, and I'm not against anything, 9 to 5, but what I'm against it is I don't see anything in inspectional services working the hours the violators are working.
Well, just to be clear, we can't create a non-union position that involves inspections because that's taking union work away from the union. That's a violation of labor law. But we can, again, negotiate with the union to see if that's something that they would be open to change their hours of work. Alfonso would have to put a package together and have a schedule and so forth, or what that would look like, and then approach the union to see if they would consider it.
Mr. Chair, through you.
Councilor?
Councilor Levy?
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The presentation, but
if I can,
it's related to do that, by all means. Okay, Councilor Levy?
yes, if I can say, I would like that Councilor De Rosario is here, because the fact that the department is collecting more revenues, is doing more inspection than ever, is doing what the city have called different from the Happy Birthday Friday, things like that. That used to be, but not now.
Yeah, let's continue with the budget discussion.
But what I'm saying is, those are union matters that had to be discussed, as it said. But the Inspection Services Department, right now, because with the connection that we have with DPW, the city is more clean, the people are more happy. That's what I have seen, and I am someone that go everywhere. I am someone that go over the weekend to see what is happening in the park, and I stop and talk to them, and that is happening. But in terms of resources to pay those inspectors is the problem.
All right, let's discussion with the, let's continue the discussion of the budget, and then once we finish with the entire
Yes.
budget, we're gonna ask questions about specific things within the budget, which is include, that's what I like about this discussion, because everything is included here, because what is not on the budget is not being paid, so we're entitled to a discussion about that. So let's continue with the presentation. Let's allow him to finish, and then we can ask questions in regard to the Inspection and Service Department.
Okay.
You might continue.
I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. What I say, I has been very open to change things that were happening in the department. But we have the restriction of the resources. We have, let me say something that is important that you know. By September, what was the second quarter, the budget was in 61%. We have to work with the budget, and thanks God that we finished just with a 86% of spent budget. So that's a problem that limit the, for example, the overtime was totally gone. I had to go twice with Mr. Ayanello to trying to, because we need, according to the contract we have with the fire department and the police, we have to have 3 inspectors on call that they receive 6 hours a week. If they work, fantastic. If they don't work, fantastic. No fire, okay. But we have to pay all that money and come from the overtime budget. That is something that maybe can be included in that proposal, that we need that money to pay those overtime, because even though we can have a couple of people working at night, won't be enough. I'm going to continue with the other clerk. I think I finished with the position of the clerk supervisor. I was explaining all the things that particular position have in the department, all the responsibility they have. The only position that we are requesting so far are those. We are no, and those 2 positions only are going to be a difference of $16,000, $444 each one of them. Because if we eliminated 2 clerks, we created those 2 positions. After that, we don't have any other changes in the budget. We have one change that is $16,000 that was changed in the budget because of the what we were doing with the building commissioner. The building commissioner was being paid as a building inspector, and finally, thanks God that he was. They fixed the salary for him, and they put it in $80,000. For me, as a director of the department, I think in any city in the area are paying that amount, and we can lose the building inspector, maybe the most important position that we have in the department because of the license that work directly with the state, and we have to have a building commissioner. So you see $16,000 that are there because he was being paid as a building inspector.
All right. It is important to recognize that the salary for the inspection and service director have changed from $79,560 to $120,000 a year, which the total change of $40,440. So that's another change as well on the budget.
Sí, yeah.
Are you done with the presentation so I can allow the councilors to continue?
If you don't have more question?
Yeah, we do. I just want to make sure that you finish up with the budget so we can have questions about it.
Okay. Yes, that was the only one. In that position, when I came here, the position was in 70,900, and I was told that they couldn't pay the exact amount that is in the range between $10,000 for experience or that they have for the entry level. And I accepted because I was promised the calling center race was in the way. If it is like that, maybe I had never come because I have a lot of responsibility that I have to put aside because I'm working here. As you know, I had at that time a real estate company that I have to stop because it's not right that I work in real estate when I am the supervisor or voting inspector. And I was in the school department for 27 years, and I have very good salary there. So when I came here, I was promised that. Now they put me who I was in calling center, and that's what that race is there.
Councilor Infante.
Through you, Chair. I don't know, perhaps the CAFO can answer or Mr. Garcia can answer this, either or. I believe we have 4 inspectors that are their salaries are currently being paid by a grant. Is that true? Yes. Okay.
I was going to talk about that. This is a very, very difficult situation for my department because we have 5 inspectors well-trained that we pay for that training. Well, the grant paid, but we use other resources, like the time for other inspector. And those inspectors are leaving now on the June 30th because the grant that was the COVID tracing investigation grant is ending. The grant is continuing, but they changed the scope of work. And now is an investigation about contagious diseases. So we couldn't retain those inspectors. I wanted to retain 3 of them, was impossible, and now we have only 6 inspectors, called inspector. And the most demand that we have is for complaint, rental registration that is missing, occupancy permit, and we only have 6 people. Now, let me tell you something that is going to happen. We are going to be using the ARPA money to change the way that we do the overflow, trash overflow, that we have 4 inspectors going around, 3 of them from the one that are leaving, and they had done a great job going through the overflow. People, they used not to care, but now because we are finding them, they are now complying better. We still have thousands of people not complying, but when we find them, they change. So the city is more clean now because of that, because the inspector are, as the Councilor Rosario said, if they are in the street, they can do it.
So just to clarify something, you using ARPA funds for?
No, ARPA, I'm sorry that I
you kind of lost it on
I didn't finish. ARPA funds is going to be used for a project of 6 scanners to do a system that works like the scanner for the traffic, for the parking meters, and they take just the pictures, they send directly to CitizenServe the information, and the inspector don't have to go to the office to write down the violation and the correction order. And that is going to accelerate the amount of tickets that we went to different cities, and in Somerville, for example, or Revere, they are doing 6,000 tickets a month. That's a lot. And actually, we are just putting 200 tickets, 300 a month, 350, because they have to go to the office and write down all the code, everything, but the scanner is going to have the code inside. When they go, put the address and immediately put the code.
Councilor Infante.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Okay, all right. From my notes here, my understanding is three of the four inspectors we're losing because the grant is ending, correct?
5 of them.
5, but 3 of them are specific to trash violations. Is that?
They were assigned to that because I need to put those inspectors there now. If we don't do that, but they are leaving, yes.
Okay. It's also my understanding that out of the 4 that we're losing, 2 of them, well, 5.
5.
2 of them, out of the 5 we're losing, 2 of them that we've already used city funds, meaning taxpayer money, we've already trained them, and actually, if we were to invest in these 2, we could actually save and keep them here within the department. So I don't understand why we're asking for an assistant director of ISD for $80,000 when we're losing inspectors that we need out in the streets every day.
I can explain that because a director, not me, any director there is someone that have 10 or 15 meetings a day. Meetings of people going there, meetings of every project that need to be presented to the city, meeting with the community in sense of a problem that is in a bodega that have a kitchen in not good condition, and then the inspector go and they feel like harassed, they say, but it's because they are not in compliance. I have to go there, explain them what is the situation, and everybody win in that sense, because a director cannot be seated in an office. It's like that, anybody can do that, answer email, or the director have to be in charge.
To follow up on your comments, we're actually hiring somebody to do the director's work, according to what your
It's not the director work, it's just someone that is going to manage the daily operational matters in the department. For example, we need someone, and I call it a lead inspector, better than assistant, because that lead inspector is going to be there to assign all the work, and citizen service, a lot of work that you have to assign them and keep track of the calendar to see if they did the work. It's a lot of work that a person has to do, because if the director has to do all those things, it's going to be a problem.
All right, Councilor Infante, you have the floor.
Thank you. Speaking of the daily, I mean, going back to what the chair said, that those are the responsibilities of the department's director. And I can tell you, I have an experience where I went to the inspectional service myself looking for help. I was looking for the director because no one in the office could help me, and I ended up getting help from the building commissioner. So I saw it firsthand how hectic and overworked our employees are, and to me, again, it's crazy that we're proposing an $80,000 position when our frontline workers need the help the most. And I think Councilor Rodriguez had.
Councilor De Rosario.
Thank you. I mean, if you follow up, thank you. I mean, and again, we're gonna end up going back to this position. We're losing people. They are out there on the field, and we're bringing an assistant director that is gonna sit in the office to assign work. He's not gonna go out and do the work. The four inspector I will do. He's not gonna go out and inspect the same amount. He's not gonna do the same amount of inspection that my let's put it, 2 inspectors are gonna do. He's gonna go there and assign the work. And again, all this is great, but if we losing the people that are in the battlefield, why are you hiring another general? Who he's gonna send work to? You're gonna lose 5 people, you're gonna hire 1. You're gonna create a position for 1, but you're gonna lose 5. So, meaning, who he's gonna assign work for? Who he's gonna assign work for when you're losing 5 and creating 1? If you're telling me that those 5 are gonna stay, and the workflow, it's up there, and you need that help, because you might need the help, and I understand. But he's losing those 5. So meaning that losing those 5 is less work that you're gonna assign, or less people that are gonna perform the actual work that is needed to be done. Again, you could be level funded right now if you're doing the right work, if you're doing the right inspection, if you bring in the money. Me, I'm gonna talk about me. I work in another community, I work in Lowell. What do I do in Lowell? What do I do in Lowell? I'm a recycling enforcement coordinator, and I have 2 people under me. And I go and do inspection myself. And when at the end of the day, we recollect what we did. And we're not looking at the numbers and say, whoa, this month, we did more than last year. No, I'm protecting them, giving them work, but also going out to work with them and doing what we need to do. Chase those violators. Instruct the people not to violate, because we don't want to put 6,000 tickets a month, to be honest. If we have to put 6,000 tickets a month, the people are not getting the message. The people are not getting the message. We would love to have 3 tickets a month. Meaning that we did our job, people understand what they need to do, and we don't need to fine you or ticket you. But, again, I want to find something in this budget that I say, Mr. Garcia, as much as I love you, I agree with all this, but it's not way, we're justifying the non-work that the inspection of service is doing right now. You're just justifying that. You came in with an idea or restruct that department, and you had a great idea, but it's not working in this budget. It's looking the same way. It might be level funded. You have a great position invented right here, but what we need is those 5 people. Those 5 people to do the work and 5 people to work at night. That's what we need to do. And now I'm going to take a little break. I was going and I come back. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Councilor, that would be a great idea. He has, the councilor has great ideas that we have discussed in the department, and we have discussed with the administration many times. But
What happened there? What happened on those discussions?
No, what I say is I have mentioned the needs we have for the inspector, but they are, he is confusing the assignment for that position, the description of the work that he's going to be doing.
Tell us more.
It's an inspector.
We want to know more.
Have to be an inspector from the department, possibly offering the position to any one of them, ready to supervise. He is, the councilor is talking about the work in the street. We cannot send 5 inspectors without any supervision. We have to have someone that coordinate the map, where they're going to be, what they are going to be doing, and what time they get to the work, and what time they leave.
Well,
That's
the
why.
thing is, like, this is the troubling that I have. That's the position of the inspection or service director.
Being down the street supervising them?
Also. Because at the end of the day, and I don't want to take time from Councilor Levy, at the end of the day, that you are ultimately responsible for everything and anything they do there.
Yeah.
So you need to supervise that you're not getting in trouble.
I am supervising them because when they work over the weekend, I am on call with them. They call me for anything. I'm working too. But this is the way to supervise, or I have to be with them doing the work. We need someone, and so far what I am doing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, what I am doing is, one of them is being put like supervise the work, but the union say, no, that person cannot supervise because he's equal to them in responsibility. Those are the things that happen. We have a lot of restriction.
All right, Councilor Levy.
Thank you, Council President.
How many
Yeah, how many inspectors do you have?
I have 8 building inspectors
8 building inspectors.
and 6 code inspector that they call now HSA 1.
So practically you have 14 inspectors,
14 inspector.
and from there,
Losing 5,
losing 5.
right?
No, not from there. They were not counted in the inspector that, yeah. The grant paid inspector as different from the 14.
So that's so you're going
That's the number we have,
So still, you're going to continue having
14.
14 inspectors.
Yes.
Okay. But I just remember, that for many years, we had inspector at night working in the city during weekend. So we have people like, I don't remember what, that she used to be to midnight sometimes on the street. That food inspector, yes. She's no longer with the city. There was another inspector that also, I can't remember the name, that used to go out and do what we are talking right now, looking on the street for construction and for many others. There were 2 of them that they were doing. So now we say that we cannot have those people in here.
The problem is that we have the restriction, as I said, of the money. I have prepared 3 times group of inspectors, 5 in one time, 6 twice. 6 inspectors together, 4 hours that the union don't allow to work less than that. If they work 1 hour, you have to pay 4. So they have been working with the food truck, for example. We used to have 40 food truck legally. Illegally, more than that maybe. Coming from other city, they come from other city to Lawrence. And what we are doing is now, we gave them a ultimatum. You have to comply with having the permit, all the permits ready. So far, we only have 7 food trucks that are in the process, because it has been a little difficult for them to get the hawkers and peddlers, which is the state license. And we have done a great job with the food truck because we have more control now, just because 3 times I have used 4 inspectors to go around and cover the whole city during 2 days. So we are trying, but the resources are not there.
So I have another question. Who respond the phone over here at the inspectional survey?
Who what?
Who respond the phone? When somebody call, who respond the phone?
We have 3 clerks for that.
We have 3 clear.
And now 2, because we're going to have on Monday the new one that is coming. But we have 3 clerks in charge.
Don't we have the clear working today?
Yes.
All the 3?
Only 2 that were there.
Only 2 were there.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened at the levy today?
Yes. So I don't know how many phone calls because something will happen. The first phone call I got is at 8 o'clock and 5 minutes.
8 o'clock?
At 5
We
minutes.
haven't opened yet.
Well, yes. But that is the first phone call that I received because they were calling since yesterday to the office and nobody having answer. So then,
Oh, let me clarify that.
Okay.
Constituents called you at 8 in the morning to complain about somebody not picking up the phone
no,
yesterday.
yes. So let me see hold on 1 second. But this is not the first time. The thing is, like, we call or people call over there and they do not get back or nobody answer the phone or nobody return the call and you don't even know. what's going on or why they were calling. That is why I say, how many people answering the phone over there? Because if we had 3 people answering the phone, at least, I think, maybe every 10 minutes they should, because it is so that the phone should be blinking when somebody call and leave a message, please call me.
Okay.
If you saw me this morning, no? It's because I brought the complaint, or what's going on in some place, and all the people that I got in here that were calling regarding something that was happening, and nobody had called or returned the call regarding this.
Yes, as I said at the beginning, we are having many people going to the office for services. Why? Because they were having problem with CitizenServe to apply for different kind of services that they do. We have people that they have never worked with a computer. They cannot do it in the phone. And they were told through a letter they can come to the office of Inspection of Services and someone is going to help you. The 3 clerks, 2 only that I have now, most of the time are helping people when they don't pick up the phone. Because I have seen, I go around many times a day, and I have seen how they are talking to people, helping people over the phone. But always it's going to happen something.
I know that. I know how hard those people work on that department. I know how hard. But like I'm saying is, if they are at the front desk helping somebody, okay, but when they came back to their desks and the phone is blinking, at least they should take the phone. When
And
I
call
know that
back.
sometimes they have to come back to their desk and do whatever work or filling a paper or whatever, but as soon as they have at least a minute, they should hear whatever is the message in there and see how they can return the phone call.
Yeah. They have that instruction. They are not compliant, but this is something that I can add to talk to them in the meeting tomorrow.
I want to know, okay, I'm sorry. What is, okay, so, hold on, what did I do? You said that we got how many building commission that will pay? They said that building commission will pay as a building inspector or building inspector?
No. We have to have in place a building commissioner, which is the building official that is mentioned all the time in the residential code 780 Massachusetts residential code. They have to be in place a building commissioner, which is the person able and willing to receive all the construction, the repairs, everything. The problem was he was assigned in the position of building commissioner, but he continued being paid as an inspector. I don't know why, but that was a situation in administration. But he is a person, I think, he loved the city and he loved the position, and he was there working very hard, and I'm very glad that they fixed the problem with him.
So right now, we have the building commission. and
Commissioner-
also we have also, and how many building inspectors do we have?
No, we're going to have a position now available because he was assigned as a building inspector, and it's going to be a position that we're going to post it for that position that was changed to another one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilor De Rosario.
Again, thank you, through the chair. Director, sorry about that. Director, we talk about funds, and you don't have funds, and there's no funds, and how about grants? have the inspection service got any grants, lost any grants, write any grants while you there? The only grant that I've been hearing is the one that these inspectors that gonna lose their job had. I haven't seen the inspection service coming down here asking to spend grants. I wonder why, and if that's the case, how much money have we lost in grants?
We are sharing a different grants with the city of Methuen and the city, there are 3 cities, Dracut, Lawrence, and Methuen. They have different grants that we share. So far, we are sharing one of the inspector that I have is an inspector that belongs to both cities. And this is a code inspector that worked for us 3 days and 2 for Methuen. That particular grant, $300,000, is paying right now for a consultant that come for training to the inspector. And we are in the process to get other grants. For example, we have right now a person that came just to manage one of the grants that we have that is going to help a lot the department, because that grant is going to be, we're going to hire 13 to 15 young people, mainly from leaving high school or in the last year of high school, to go around looking for people that have needs, and they're going to do data on that needs and trying to find services for those people. That is a grant, it's a health grant also that is being used. If you see the city of Lawrence, for our department, was using a grant during COVID time, and that was like 3 months ago that finished, that was using 3 nurses and other 3 assistants. There was 6 people in the city of Lawrence for that. That grant finished, but what happened with the grant, they changed the scope of work, and then we cannot use them in inspectional services. You see, have to be used in another area of the city services, but not in inspectional services. That's why we have that grant that was exclusively to trace COVID patient. And we use the inspector, and we check with them, and they allow to do it, that we put inspector to work in that grant because they do those kind of services to the people.
So if there's no COVID, the inspection service wouldn't get any grants? You're telling me that now COVID is over, there's no grant for inspection services?
That was not what I said, Councilor. I said that the COVID grant finished, but we are having different kind of grants, health grants, that are coming through the DPH to the city of Lawrence in combination with Methuen.
Thank you.
Councilor Infante.
Through you, Chair. So first of all, to answer my colleague's question, I believe we lost about $900,000 in grant from the Department of Public Health. But with that being said, I would like to know, how is our relationship with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health? I know that's a big part of your responsibility, so I would like to know how we're doing that, and why is it that we lost that? Because that's not a COVID, that was not involved with COVID.
I don't have that information that we have lost that grant, because we are in a conversation to solve that problem. That is not in the budget. That's why I just come here to say what is in the budget for you changes or no. But in the Department of Health is being organized, and the relationship with the DPH is, as always has been, very good. They are trying to come to Lawrence to help the city, and there are a lot of projects that is being discussed at this moment. But so far, our project being discussed, but anything in writing for that.
Now, the relationship with the Massachusetts DPH, are you still the key point person that nurtures that relationship for our community?
We have, in terms of grant, we are working with the Department of Human Services, Health and Human Services. Is a person that the director has helped a lot. In that department, we have
With all due respect, Mr. Garcia, that's not the question that I'm asking you.
Maybe
I'm asking if you are the main person that nurtures the relationship with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health.
I am the person that participates in the meeting. I have in my department one of our inspector, one of the 6 inspector, which is Ismael that is helping with that department, and is being proposed to manage the health area in the department. And that is something that is in negotiation. She is the person that is going to be directly working in health. As we have, for example, the building department that work with building, the licensing board that work with license, the Department of Health is going to have a person that's going to be the direct contact with the department. But as I said, those are negotiations that has been being created last year.
Thank you. So from my understanding and the job description that we have for the director's position, half of the responsibilities is public health. So I have an issue, and I understand that we did a whole Collins report on everything, but I have an issue with the director's position salary being increased by $40,440 when half of your responsibilities will no longer go through you. You won't be the main point person for it.
Yes, but you Councilor, is mentioning something that was negotiated in the Collins Center. You cannot mention me specifically because I can be there until tomorrow. The next director is going to come for that particular salary. But you are referring exactly to my position, my work there, or the new position?
Very quick, I just want to make sure that it's a point of information on there. Mr. Anello, do you have the recommendation for the salary for this position?
For which position are you talking, the ISD director?
The IT director, yeah. Give us the range.
Yeah, I think I saw it a moment ago. Director of Inspectional Services, 81.9 to 124.8.
So that means that the city can go anywhere between 89 to 124.
In the range, right.
Based on the
That's the range
recommendation.
for the position. There's some restrictions as to new employees starting. They have to start, you can go up to the mid-range within the first 6 months, and after 6 months, then you can go higher in the range.
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
I
what
mean,
the
the
ordinance
range is
requiring.
89 to 124.
81.9 to 124.8.
All right, thank you. So, Director, with all the respect, the salary was increased based on a conversation or some type of agreement between the administration and yourself, like it happened with other positions, but the city doesn't have to go to 120 because the range is 89 to 124. So it could be 89, and we are in compliance with the new recommendation that we have, and we have approved. So going to 124, it was something because the administration believes in your job and your work and the things that you're doing, and they recommend that. But it doesn't have to be a must. So in the meantime, I pass it over to Councilor Infante so she can continue her thought about, her questioning about that.
If I may,
I
Councilor.
think you did it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may,
yes, go ahead.
as Mr. Iannello said, the range is the one that you mentioned, but people starting, the starting level is half of the range, according to the ordinance, half of the range, not necessarily at the beginning of the range. And I understand what you say after that particular, but when that started, I was here for 6 months. And that's why he said that after 6 months, they can go higher.
No, but I mean, I think that you got it wrong. The administration can keep you in the job for the minimum until they think it's right. The ordinance doesn't say you have to increase after 6 months. You have the leverage to negotiate after 6 months. But it doesn't say you have to increase salaries at 6 months period. It's not. They can keep you at the minimum if they choose to. So it doesn't say like you have to go like mid-range or any range. It's up to the administration to maintain the salary that they think the position deserves. The ordinance doesn't say you have to go mid-range or you have to pay for that amount of money.
According to what Mr. Yanello just has said, and according to what I was told by the personnel department, the ordinance have the range to start. And then after that, after 6 months, can be increased the salary.
It could be.
That
It doesn't have to.
That's what the ordinance says.
Yeah, it could be negotiated, but
Yes,
it doesn't
could be.
have to. That's what I'm saying. So, Councilor Infante, you have the floor.
Thank you. One more comment before my final question. From my understanding, our relationship with the Mass DPH has not been good, which is a huge reason why I do not agree with this salary increase for anyone in this position until we fix that. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health is a huge, huge partner and stakeholder for our community. And the fact that we are tarnishing that is an issue, especially during a time that we're living right now. Secondly, my final question is, and this going back to the inspectors, out of the inspectors, how many inspectors are in compliance with their current certification?
The code inspector is different, but the building inspector, that is a problem that we have in the building inspector, and it's something that I found there. We have been trying to solve it, and from these 8 inspector, counting the plumber and the electrician, that is in the fire department, but is the electrician that work with us, that are considered building. That's why we only have 6. From the 6, including the commissioner, that now the position is going to be available, we have 3 inspectors that they are no certified, and that is a problem for the department, a problem for the commissioner, and we have had different meetings with the state to solve that problem. And they are helping us in terms of time to solve the problem, because we have the problem with the union. When they put those employees that was in the last administration, they didn't took into account the requirement to start working as a building inspector and then take the test from the state. If you don't have 5 years of experience working in construction, you cannot take the test. There's no way that you can take it. And it's something that we're having problem, but it's going to be solved very soon, because the Department of Building Department in the state is working with us for that sense. But it's something that has to be negotiated even with the union, because they have now a saying in 3 inspectors that is going to be thrown out.
Councilor Infante, you done with your questioning?
I'm done, thank you.
All right, I have a few questions that I have written down. We're going to go back to a few things that Councilor have said, and I'm going to propose some things for you to look at, and then go from there. Most of the to go now. it is troubling that we have construction or building inspector that are not certified, because that's an issue in terms of ticketing. If I get a ticket because of a violation that I have, and somebody that is not certified is giving me a ticket, I'm gonna challenge that ticket. And now the fact that I know that 3 of the 8 building inspectors in the city of Lawrence are providing tickets, so any ticket that I get personally, I will challenge those, because I don't know if the inspector is certified. So that's kind of troubling, and for the city, and essentially for the whole community, because of the safety code, the building inspector need to look at it. It's not, essentially, we're inspecting every construction that is happening for the safety and the sake of our community up there. And if we're not certified, we are talking about the 30% of the building inspections that we do are getting done by somebody that is not certified. A little more than 30% actually. But just going back to Councilor De Rosario was looking at, I have some notes in terms of that issues happening on the weekends. It is amazing how you see the amount of construction going on Saturday morning.
A lot.
And it come up, you know, I was looking and writing things down on the budget, and you have $60,400 on overtime. That is going to be split between different departments, code inspector, building inspections, and so far so on. You also mentioned that within the department, and I remember that discussion specifically, you have to have 3 inspectors on call and pay them because they have the phone, pay them 6 hours. We approved that negotiation that the union and the city did because of the fact that we were actually thinking about those problems, that if they're on call, they're going to be working. And if they're going to be working, most likely it's going to be outside of the hours that they work, which is Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. By the way, closing up the office for some period of time, hoping that they're doing inspections. But during that time, construction most likely are not happening because you take breaks during the lunchtime as well when you're doing a construction. And if you're doing a permit, if you're doing without a permit, if you're not pulling up permits, you're gonna work within hours that most likely the inspection or services is not working. But why don't we have those 3 inspectors that are on call, if we pay them 6 hours, to go up there Saturdays, sometimes Sunday, to inspect those type of construction?
That would be great, and I have been asking the same question. When I got to the department, that was a deal signed a long time ago, and what I have seen that I does not approve is that they are on call. And on call for them and for whoever signed the deal is to be waiting for a fire or for some emergency that happened.
That was not the definition of the contract. You can look at the contract, and Mark can provide it to you. On call means on call. On call means if you're doing some work, and if a construction inspection need to happen. That's what it means. You have the phone, because of the fact you have a phone, you get the hours. But if it is not calls, the inspection or service director can call them, and they have to be available. It's not the fire, it's not the police department. That was not part of the definition of those 6 hours a week for 3 inspectors, meaning 18 hours a week of inspection. That's what it means. If it is no fire, if it is not nothing, those hours can be work during the weekend. I mean, at least we're paying 18 hours of inspection time.
Every time that I receive a a complaint or someone called about because a lot of people call saying they are building something here and I don't think they have a permit. We have a lot of people that call. When that happened, I call them, whoever it is, because not the three are at the same time. It's just one every week. Not the three inspectors are working. It's just one. And then that person, if we have another type of emergency or any work like that, we call it and they haven't never say no. They go. When we have a lot of people calling for no heat, that was something that they were paying overtime to inspector that after 4 o'clock, they weren't going there to get overtime. And I said, well, we're going to use for those call the people that are on call. And that works at that time. But it is something that I can see that contra and see what are the rights that we have to put them to do other type of works.
All right. I'm going to ask you a few things. We have violations that happen during the weekend. We have issues when it comes to hiring a new position that is doing inspection or code supervisions, because they need to be under the unions, right?
Not only supervision, that person is going to be an inspector doing his work.
Code enforcement or building inspections have to be under the union specifically. But guess what? We have to think outside of the box. When you have all those violations and you cut somebody on action, you can create a position that it could definitely be called, and I put a name on it, building permit violation. It is not a code enforcement, and it's not a building inspector. It is just going to locations that is suspected to be on violations, and they can look at the permit. According to the law, the international code from 1915, International Building Code from 1915, and all of the old ones, you have to post the construction permit during the construction time. If you don't see those permits being posted outside for people like us or the general public to see, and then you have a building permit violation. You don't have to enforce the code, and you don't have to enforce the building inspection, but you find a violation, and that person can definitely collect facts about what the person sees, and that person could definitely, under the authority of the inspection or services, get into those property and not necessarily being an inspector or a code enforcement, and collect data, provide that information to the building inspections or to the code enforcement about particular violation, and then the group of 14 people that you have might be able to go there and find those violations and provide 2 types of tickets. And listen, I'm telling you just because based on note that I wrote down. If they find building code violations, they can provide that. And also a violation of the permit not being posted during the time that they were supposed to. Those people could be in non-union positions and not necessarily dealing with the scheduling restriction that we currently have. Because it is amazing, if you live in the city of Lawrence, it is amazing how the contractor sees the inspection or services as a joke.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you don't need to get permit. You don't need to pull a permit in Lawrence. You don't have, they say you don't have to. And we're losing all those revenues. And guess what? This is what my problem comes. My tax bill get up every year because we're not collecting those violations. Because if my tax go up, I get mad. like anybody else in this room, right? And that's the whole thing. We need to be able to get those violators, get those people that are not in compliance with the law, to be able to have them pay, especially if they're building something in their house or their property, because that's not only going to bring money because of the code violations or because of the ticketing that you're going to provide, that's also going to bring up the tax revenues because they have new construction. And the new construction, we were discussing that yesterday, those monies are, needed to keep on running the city. So those are little things that you actually can do. When it comes to the position that you currently have, part of your jobs is going to be substituted with the new assistant that you're going to have, if it goes through. But part of the work that the inspection or service director, or part of the responsibility is based on health. And a lot of those responsibilities are also going to go to someone else. So it is traveling. It is traveling what is happening there. The council have issues, and I kind of like don't have too much of those issues because I give up a little bit on sending emails. But based on the conversation we have here, and last year, that was a huge conversation we have with the entire administration. It was based on phone issues that is not being picked up. I'm pretty sure you get a handle on that, and we'll fix the issue. But I think that the email issue that it was brought up by Councilor Rosario, that email is not being responded when they email the inspection or service. I'm assuming that those emails goes directly to you. I won't email anybody that is not the department head.
Point of clarifying, the director actually replied back to my email. The issue is that the actual problem that I brought out in the email, it's been several emails, and I'm still dealing with my constituents with direct infection, with that sidewalk blocked, that the kids have to go to the street with all this bike riding around to walk, and it's still there. The issue is still there. 2 months, almost 2 months, the house got on fire, and the debris is still there.
No problem. But that's a point well taken to clarify that. On my end, I kind of give up to send emails because I feel scared that I'm not going to be responsive. But I hope that perception change on me. I start sending more emails to the inspection or services. But I hope that once we establish that relationship, that won't happen. I just have that feeling on my mind. But this is not about feeling; it's about reality. And I have no fact on that. Just a feeling. But yes, inspection or service is extremely important to us. As you can see, we have spent over an hour discussing the budget. The city council budget is also important to us. We spent over an hour discussing that budget as well. And we have other budget that are extremely important that we need to keep on discussion. Director, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing us to discuss this budget. And now you have the floor to respond.
Yeah, before I leave, I would like to answer something that I forgot when Councilor Rosario mentioned that big problem we have with the fire and the demolition of the property, that by law, if it is a danger, imminent a danger for the public, had to be demolished immediately. But what happened is, and it's something that I was thinking about to talk to you precisely and the other councilors interested in helping in that, there is a problem with the insurance company. The contractor who do the demolition because the city paid the demolition, okay? The city.
Director, let me interrupt you. Let's leave it like that. You know why? Because I know more than that. And there's a business around who is going to demolish that little thing, and they all gather around what the fire is. And one of the inspection or services that work out there is the one that picked the company that is going to demolish that. And he should be the one picking the company that's going to pick it up. let's call it a night. Let's call it a night, and let's go with that said.
We can
Because,
continue the
because
discussion on
Director, all of those demolition and all those insurance gather around every fire, waiting for you guys. I'm gonna say you guys, because I'm gonna mention the whole department, to pick who's gonna demolish and who's gonna make the money. And that's the one that you have to should be accountable for. So let's just leave it like that, and we're not gonna involve any more people. Let's just leave it like that.
Is my understanding,
It's a
Councilor-
business involved in there.
Is my understanding, Councilor, that the demolition had to go through bid?
Goes to, Director, it's going to bid in 10 minutes. They make a bid in 10 minutes when they have to demolish the house the same day, because it's in danger.
Director, stay right there. Let me just finish up with the budget. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing us to discuss the budget. The inspection service is extremely important department. DPW, the VOC, and all those departments are extremely important to the city of Lawrence. So thank you for the work that you have done, and I hope that at some point we can improve for the best, and at some point we can establish those things that are gonna improve the city in a way that we're all happy. This is gonna be a challenge, but I mean, I think that, it's gonna happen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Director, and let's continue with the budget.
Thank you.
All right, the next item that we have, we would like to discuss the budget for the Greater Lawrence Technical School. If you please, Sí, está bien. Superintendent Lavoy, thank you for being here tonight. Just introduce yourself and tell us more about the budget.
So, John Lavoy, Superintendent Director, Greater Lawrence Technical School. I want to start off by first thanking you for changing our evening and time to present our budget to you because of some of my personal conflicts last night. So truly appreciate that. And I also want to say a special thank you to the council and the citizens of Lawrence for the support of GLTS over the years, and we take your support seriously and totally appreciate that. I would like to introduce some of our team that's with me tonight here. Our chairman of the school committee, Leo Lamontagne. Also another member of our school committee, Frank Zarillo from the city of Methuen. The director of finance, Melissa Martell, is with us. And our principal, Susan Zielinski, is also with us. So it's a great team, and they make a difference in what's making us a school that really, truly is really working hard to provide opportunities for the students and also the citizens of Lawrence. I want to talk a little bit about some of what's going on in terms of what's driving our budget and what's making, you'll see some increases in there, and what's causing some of that increase, and also what are some of the good things that are happening that I think that you can understand what is the impact on our budget. So first of all, we are continuing to try to grow the access for students to GLTS. We have an enormous amount of students that apply every year. This year, again, we're at about 1,600 students that apply, but we continue to try to expand the school. As you know, we're starting 3 new programs, one aviation, programming, and early childhood education. And not only is it because there's a good, strong job market in these areas, but it also allows us to bring in more students into the school because we have more shop programs. So those 3 programs over a period of the next 4 years will allow us to expand by another 300 students. This year we had about, I believe was 1,695 students. Next year, we're working on admissions at this time. We'll be at 1,804 students, so you can see an increase in that. So that's our day program. Then we have our After Dark program, where we take in students from the high school from 2:30 to 5:30. We're also expanding that. We're adding 2 new programs to that next year, IT and health assistant, which will allow us to bring in another 40 students to help increase the amount of students that we can take in from Lawrence. Of that program, about 80% of the students in that program are from the city of Lawrence. So we're looking at an increase of about 100, about another 40 students from the city of Lawrence in that program. Then the other third program that we provide services for, educational service for, is our workforce development program, which is a critical part of what we provide in terms of helping train and develop skilled labor for the city. And last year alone, we provided about $1.5 to $1.7 million in workforce development programs that allow us to train unemployed and underemployed citizens of the city of Lawrence. So we are totally 100% committed to trying to provide skilled labor training for that will help strengthen the economic development, economic strength of the city of Lawrence. Not only is it important to us to educate students so that they can have at some point in their lives high-paying jobs that they can provide for their families, and also students coming out of carpentry can be your next building inspectors in about 10 years, so who will be well-trained and ready for the job. But in any case, we are all about trying to provide the best we can, because we want to make the city of Lawrence a better city, a safe city, and a city that the citizens of Lawrence deserve. So with that, I'd like to go over our budget. I'm going to...
Brendan, very quick before you continue. This budget have been already approved by the school committee, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so let me start on page 11. I'll start with, I'm going to go over our state revenue first, and then I'll go over the City of Lawrence assessment that is based on the minimum contributions that the state has awarded or said that the City of Lawrence would be contributing to Greater Lawrence Tech. And then I'll cover the non-foundation revenue as well, your assessments that are listed in our budget here. So for the state, Chapter 70 aid for, at this time, the governor's numbers is $35,549,375. That's an increase of $3,141,736. A big reason for the increase in revenue from the state for Greater Lawrence is the increase in our student population has brought in more revenue for us. And in terms of the City of Lawrence, it's $1,496,878, increase of about $15,345 for so for between all our community contributions and state contribution, our total estimate for our foundation revenue next school year is $43,068,009, which is an increase of $4,014,486. The difference, the total revenue for foundation is $43,068,009. Okay. Our estimate now non-foundation revenues for regional school transportation from the state was $1,153,208. Contributions for busing for the City of Lawrence is $2,107,061. and, which is a total of all revenue for busing, $2,973,745. Our E&D account, we are taking $500,000, putting it into this year's a project that we're doing, which is to redo our parking lot and driveways throughout the school, and our miscellaneous revenue is $100,000. So total non-foundation revenue of $5,226,952, and a total estimated revenue of $48,294,961 for a total increase of $4,963,597. So the difference in terms of how we calculate foundation versus non-foundation, the foundation revenue is determined by the state based on the state formula. The non-foundation revenue is based on percentage of the students that we have from Lawrence. So if you look at, let's take for instance the busing, where it's not busing. Well, if you look at the non-foundation for busing, which was a total of $1,304,802. Lawrence's population percentage of students is 70.9%. So of that $1,304,082, 70% of that is Lawrence's contribution of $924,536. So any non-foundation costs is Lawrence's contribution is 70.9% of whatever the total is, because that's the amount of students that come from the city of Lawrence, and that's how we calculate that. We're looking at.
Superintendent,
Yes.
do you know how many students do we have from Lawrence?
From Lawrence, you have 1,232 students. Welcome. And those, because we'll be increasing our numbers, we expect to see larger numbers of students coming to Lawrence. So over the next couple of years, because we've increased the number of students of our 3 programs, we'll be able to bring in more students. One of the things also that happened this year that's going to allow us to take more students next year is transfer students, 10th grade students. We're going to take substantially more transfer students this year because we had a huge number of students who wanted to go into plumbing, electrical, automotive, and health assistant. And because of that, we basically doubled the number of students we typically take in those programs. So for example, in medical assistant, we usually take 26 students. This year we took 52. So what happens is it opens up seats in this year's 9th grade class, who will be 10th graders next year in other programs. So we are able to take more transfer students, and that was one of the rationales for doing it, not only to help more students get their first choice, and because there's a high demand of need for skilled labor in those particular programs, but also it's going to help us take more transfer students, where we have a record amount of transfer students applying this year than in many, many years. So that'll allow us to take about 60 more transfer students this year, which we're very pleased about, because it'll have a big impact on also raising our numbers for students coming to the school. So we're always looking for different ways to provide more access for students between after dark, the day program, workforce development. One of the other things we're looking in the future, which is part of our 5-year strategic plan, is to look at possible purchasing other possible building in the city so that we can expand the After Dark program into a day program, where then we could substantially increase a different, more students in the After Dark program, but which will be during the day. So more students we would be able to provide another, we project another 600 students, a different programming, but still about 900 hours of training for, this is just another way of we're trying to provide more service for students who are interested in getting skills, particularly students that are coming from the high school. We also started a program last year, which is called our CTI programs, a Career Technical Institute, where they're part of our workforce development students, where we take graduating students from the high school right into a 300-hour training program, which was also to try to provide more opportunities for students. So we continue to provide in every way we can more opportunities for training for the city. We'll continue to do that. As long as demand's there, we're going to do everything we can to try to provide those opportunities.
Councilor, any questions in regard to this budget? Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, through you, Chair. It's great and refreshing after the long conversation we have to have you here, Superintendent Lavoy. And every time I see you, I say the same thing. I'm grateful for what you do. You do so much with so little. And I'm a living experience of what the vocational school has done. Don't ask me the year, but my second daughter actually went to the the vocational school, which I had a big argument because she said, I'm not going to follow Ashley, which was the oldest. I'm not going to go to college. I want you to send me to the vocational school. I said, well, if you pass the test, you go there. She went in there for beauty, and she come out with her beauty license or whatever they call it, which she actually worked in a couple of salons here, and now she's in Louisiana with her own 2 beauty salons of her own, doing pretty great. So, it's amazing what you guys do, and some school or some superintendents should mimic what you guys do. You guys keep the student busy. And that's why you don't have so much problem with the student. I know you guys have some issues, but because you keep them busy 24/7 or every time they're there, that's why it's so successful. So I really thank you for what you guys do and what you guys do to our kids in Lawrence. And what a great ending to the night, the vocational school and then the library. I think it's great. Let me look at the thing, yeah. No, it's just the vocational school and who else? Who else? No, not tonight. Oh, I mean, I thought it was somebody else. But I think, going back, Lavoy, thank you very much, and thank you very much to all of you. It's great what you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Levy?
I do want to invite you to our graduation, which is next Thursday.
I hope
June
they
8th.
can invite us, yes.
So I want to let you know you're welcome to come.
Please send the invitation of at least that you send an email to everybody. To send an email. It's already in the calendar? Oh,
But he's already telling you, write it down. He's right here.
But I want to thank you for everything that you've been doing. In reality, like I have my high school in a technical school at the Dominican Republic. But when I came in here, my son, he asked me to go to the technical school.
Yes.
And I said no, because everybody said, no, that was not good. But after the year, I can see, and there were so many different programs over there that I attended with a group that it was called the Mass Migrant Program. I don't know if you heard about it.
No.
The Mass Migrant Program. So the principal during the summertime is like we had a summer program for children.
Okay.
And we have more than 100 children going to from almost 2 months to the vocational high school.
Oh.
And I just learned, the different, how it was,
Yes.
from whatever that I was told. And I said, why I didn't never send my children
Sure.
right to here. And really, really thank you. You're doing a very great job.
Thank you.
And by the way, that's, the salon is so beautiful. The renovation of the salon.
Oh, the salon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, beauty parlor, salon, I don't know how you call.
Cosmetology.
And
Yeah.
also that's the children, the place for the children. It's very
Thanks.
nice and very comfortable too.
Thank you.
Councilor Infante?
Thank you. Superintendent, I've said this to you multiple times in private and publicly. When you stepped in as superintendent for GLTS, I was a sophomore. And from how the school was back then to where it is today, it's been remarkable. And I actually recently, I shared with Leader Morand that I'm going to be sad and worried once you leave, because the passion that you have for the school and the students, it's there. And it's a passion that I feel like you and I know, especially when you graduate from that school. It's a different type of passion. And Leader Moran completely understood, and we just spoke about how far the school has gone. And I just want to thank you. Like my colleagues, I want to thank you. You, the administration, the school, everyone, you guys are part of my success story as well. And I always say I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for what I experienced at GLTS. So thank you. Thank you for everything that you guys all do.
Thank you. And you make us proud all the time, Stephanie. You're one of our success stories.
Well, thank you, Councilor Infante.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. I know that this budget have been reviewed by the school committee, and I highly appreciate the work that they put into the budget and the questioning that they made. But it is important to talk about this. So the enrollment, we know that majority of the students come from Lawrence, and then second Methuen, and then so far so on. Can you go over the enrollment for the students, and can you actually touch base on the biggest issue, which is the waiting list?
So in terms of enrollment, what's the big issue in terms of trying to get?
The waiting list, I mean.
Oh, the waiting list? Oh, sure. So our enrollment, well, this year our enrollment was 1,695 students, which has continued over the last 10 years to increase. Overall, of that 1,665 students, 1,232 were from the city of Lawrence. And we continue to have a long wait list because we just don't have enough space to bring all students in. And one of the issues that we've been trying to deal with is try to build more equity into our admissions process. And we've been working both with the Department of Education and particularly with our school committee. We've had several conversations and meetings about how can we ensure that we're providing an equitable opportunities for students to come to GLTS. It's not just about grades, but our criteria really focuses on attendance. Grades is part of it. Recommendations from their counselors or teachers is the other part of it. And if students have really good attendance, a high percentage of students who don't get into GLTS is because of attendance.
Yeah, and that was basically one of the biggest issues that I have, because if you look at the district, the City of Lawrence district, we are considered by DC as a district that is under chronic condition when it comes to attendance, because most of the 10% of the students miss out, and they are out of the threshold when it comes to attendance, missing more than 10% of the of what they're supposed to. a year. So having that criteria in place to join the book will affect the kids from Lawrence tremendously.
Point of clarification?
Sure.
Thank you, Chair.
Councilor Infante.
Through you, Chair, just a quick point of clarification about the admissions process. And I think the school has definitely improved the communication on this. The students do, for whatever reason, if they're denied or put on a wait list, and if attendance or whatever the case may be is a factor, they do have the option to submit an appeal letter to the principal, where the principal and the admissions director, they actually sit in person with the applicant or the student to find out what's the reason for the attendance, or, you know, something that it could be a medical, something that won't be like, it's not included in the application process. So they do have that second chance to advocate or explain to the school why attendance is low, or disciplinary issues, et cetera, that may not be highlighted on the.
And just one point well taken, Councilor Infante. Is the process, now let's go to what you mentioned, the process for the appeal process.
Yes.
Is that something that people get access to it in an easy way?
Well,
I haven't explored the website,
So
but
for
if
student-
that's something that is on the website, that's something that you get when you get denial.
Yes, if you get a denial,
you
in
get-
the
you
letter.
get that information.
It explains that they have an opportunity to appeal, and it explains what the appeal process is. And so we have many students, parents that do appeal, and because you appeal doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a hearing. Most, it depends on the reason and that they present to us for the appeal. And so once we review all the appeals, and the principal starts off with the director of admissions, then here's the hearing, and then they can then appeal to the principal again if they are not happy with the outcome of that, and the principal will be the final word in terms of whether they're accepted or not. But students are accepted through that process, and we do always leave a certain amount of openings to allow for students who may want to appeal. And so, because there are many reasons why students have high absenteeism, and we understand that, and so we look at what those extenuating circumstances are, and we take that into account. But, you know, one of the reasons for the admissions process is we want to make sure that students who are coming will benefit from coming to GLTS, because of the cost is so much more than a regular high school cost. So we have to make sure the kids that do come will benefit and are serious about coming, and they come for the right reasons. So that's important as well. And what's also important is that we want to make sure they have success, because we're training the future workforce for our communities. I always say they're the backbone of our community. They're the blue-collar workers who make your city tick, that make our communities tick in terms of, you know, housing and any service that you can dream of or think about. We're training for that. And many of our students, you know, our philosophy is that every student that graduates from their different career areas is prepared to go to work in that area. So if they graduate from carpentry, first and foremost, we expect them to be a carpenter, but we also train them to go on to college if they want, if that's what they wish to do. So we have much stronger academic programs than we ever had, but we don't want to lose sight of, we're training you to be a carpenter, but we're also providing you an academic education that you can continue on and become a you know, an architect or a project manager, and go on to college and those other, because they've gotten a solid foundation.
There's no doubt about the program.
Yeah,
I
so,
mean,
but
it's very
that's
successful.
our philosophy, and,
Yeah.
and you have to have kids who really, students who really want that career in order for it to be successful.
No, I just want to make sure that we touch base on this distance. I mean, you probably don't have the percentage now, but I would like the percentage once you come back. So the percentage of the waiting list corresponds, or is correlated to the actual enrollment percentage. I know that you mentioned that the city of Lawrence, it's about 74% of the school population, right?
74% is on the wait list, you mean?
No. What is the percentage of of Lawrence students that go to the book?
Oh, the percentage is, right now, just under 70.9%.
70?
70.9%.
70.9.
Yeah.
Is the waiting list corresponds to something similar percentage-wise?
The waiting list, based on how many apply, so if we looked at how many students that applied from Lawrence, I think it might have been somewhere around 1,200, and we took in, I would say about 350, so about 50%, about 40% get in at this point.
Just put those numbers together, and then you can
I
provide
can give
it
you
to us
exact,
in
I
the
can
meantime.
email you the exact
Yeah,
numbers.
okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to ask, and that's something that I actually get from other counselors asking the same questions, and that's basically the hiring process of teachers that look like the student population. I know that question come up in previous years. Is that something that the school have improved, and if
Yeah.
the school have improved it significantly, or we're working on it? I mean,
Sure.
you don't have to provide me with a specific answer at this point,
Yes.
because we have another discussion on the 21st, so you can provide me with that information later on, just to make sure that we're clear on that.
In terms of our hiring last year, this year, we're in the middle process of hiring this year, but
Then it's
last year, 48% of our hires were minorities,
Okay.
which was a huge increase from what we've done in the past. So
Right.
we had, I actually had the numbers here. I think I left it back at my desk, but it was 48% of our staff that we hired were minorities. So that's a huge increase, and that is actually a big part of our 5-year strategic plan. Oh, here it is. Thanks. So we hired 51 people last year. 24 were minorities, which is 48%.
Got it.
So
For next meeting, I probably would like to see like in terms of the total population,
yes,
how much of those probably kind of look like the
our
current population we
demographics,
serve.
how many.
And I know that you have
yeah.
had that question before by
Yeah.
other counselor, but those counselors are no longer around, so I wanted to keep the conversation alive.
Yeah.
So my next will be a comment that I always do to the school. So definitely thank you for the service that you guys provide to the community. And I always would like to ask when it comes to the solar panel farm that you guys have before. I don't know if you still have it alive, and how that project's going. Solar panels farm.
Oh, the solar farm. Oh, yes, so we still have our solar, we only own the energy, we don't own the farm, we own the energy from the farm. And that's been very beneficial to us in terms of bringing in a profit and reducing our costs. So the farm, we make just under $100,000 a year profit by selling some energy to Neshoba Tech, and then we reduce our energy costs substantially also because of that farm that we are in partnership with a company out of Texas, basically. Yeah.
Another thing that I want to bring up, so thank you for doing that for sure. Something that we need in the community for quite some time now, and I know that you guys used to offer it before, and it's probably not a significant idea to bring it as a program, but I think that a lot of people might be benefit from it that are not necessarily students, but the adult population as a continuing education. And that program will be something related to small engines.
Oh, small engines.
Small engine in the city of Lawrence, we have one guy that do the small engine repairs, and nobody can find a spot.
Yeah.
So, and I know that a lot of people might be interested on
Yeah.
having it taking a course over the summer for a certain amount of sections. I know that for the students, it's kind of tough to just prep student to do small engine, but I mean adult, might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah, so there's no job market in the small engines, but as a hobby course, or if someone that hasn't, that's actually a good idea. You would have a lot of people that would love to learn a little bit more about small engines. So we don't do those kind of courses anymore. Years ago we did, because we focused more on the workforce development side, and because it's too expensive, it costs a lot of money to run these, like run a program like that. Per student cost would be high, and no one would take the course. So we've tried to run courses like that, and because of the cost, we can't get many people to take the course. But I'm always open to try something like that, and we can revisit the whole idea of seeing what the interest is out there for courses of people that, I mean, the first 10 years of my career, I worked nights teaching people how to build furniture, and I had a course just for female. It was I would only take females in one of the course because they don't get, so they wouldn't get intimidated. I used to teach a female course on how to build furniture. My first 10 years went nights because I needed to make extra money. They didn't pay me much in those days.
Well, thank you so much, Superintendent. Any questions about this? When it comes to the aviation program, I will ask those questions on the next meeting, but it's all positive, so don't worry.
And that's going well, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right.
So, councilors, now we're gonna take the Human Rights Commission. We're going back to the top of the agenda, Human Rights Commission. Do we have anybody from the Human Rights Commission?
I'm back.
Page 141 to 143.
Okay, are you getting a stipend for this?
Power to the people. Yeah, committee chairperson and councilors, this position, the mayor has brought it to you again in the budget for funding. Last year, we did not use, we didn't hire a executive director for the Human Rights Commission because of many of the other work, but as you know, this position is require funding because of the role of the Human Rights Commission, and also recent activities related to, for instance, LGBTQ, and also it has to do with unfair housing, other community development related issues, as well as law enforcement. I think you all are quite aware that we're dealing with a case right now where we don't know how far it's going to be, but this is one of the avenues to provide a equal opportunity and safeguard the interests of our residents in regards to discrimination. The role of the Human Rights Commission is to sit in independent judgment of complaints of alleged discrimination, and the mayor has brought it up again. As you know, in the budget, there's a slight change of $25,000, I believe, to $28,500 because the mayor sees this position as a part-time for now, and that the role of the executive director would be to work with the Commission of Human Rights.
Councilors, we have a level-funded Human Rights Commission of one position, $25,000 as a part-timer. Any questions about this?
It's 28.5.
No, it's in 25.
25 plus.
It's 25?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Summary page.
It is 25
Ah, it's 25, sorry, my apologies.
$3,500 for expense.
Yeah, plus the supply, 30
Okay, good, thanks.
plus supply.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion.
Councilors, any questions in regard to this budget? Are you expecting to have this person when?
I would not risk to say or misinform you, but that's something that we, within the budget year, probably more towards, we need to hire someone pretty soon.
When was the last time that the Human Rights Commission met?
I don't know, I don't remember. And I couldn't recall when we did the research on this, but the reason why we did it is because of the changes that we have within our community. The other day, yesterday, we had a small event, and the city, you know, we need to keep up with with what's going on with.
I mean, some time ago, there was a great amount of people that present interest to be part of the board, to be part of the commission as a commissioner.
Yeah.
Having those meetings, that's the first start. I mean, we're gonna hire somebody, and that somebody might be in the commission already.
Yeah, I believe that
So
there's
why
a
don't
few
we
members.
meet? I think that we need to start meeting. That board is important.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you so much, Council. If it is no questions, we're gonna jump into the public library. The public library. Oh, the public library is on page 147 to 149. I wanna say something before we start the budget discussion.
Yes, sir.
The public library has been terrific when it comes to presentation. Small grants, small things, and you guys do a 20-minute presentation, and we definitely appreciate that, because as small as the grant is, as the better presentation we get, and as the biggest of the grant is, as the smaller presentation we get. So thank you, the library.
Honestly, thank you, guys. We appreciate, and again, Janella Brew, Library Director, and I'm here today with my Assistant Director, Julissa Perot, and my Administrative Assistant, Crystal Arias. The clang is here, and I will say that this has been a complete team effort, and this has been a rock star year for our institution, especially coming out of the pandemic. And although that we do our presentations and we're elaborate, I know my predecessor did the same. For the sake of the time that we have here, I want to make sure that we stick to what we're here for, and specifically the budget. If you guys have any questions in regards to any of the changes or the requests we've made, we'd love to elaborate on that. I still also want to share that we still are currently on the waiver plan from the state, but the city has shown us support on assisting us with moving forward. Again, if you have any questions regarding that, we have, I know, Giovanni, you had requested a little bit more information about what exactly was the MAR, and that's a municipal appropriation for the library. And again, the plan is to continue to make headway and continue to ask the question to the state to see how we do our portion. The library has had an uptick in attendance. A lot of that has to do with adding implementations of becoming the first state-of-the-art institution for the city of Lawrence. I think it's way overdue. Our neighbors have it happening, and we need to have it happen now. So no more delays. We've hit the floor running, and we don't plan on stopping until it's done. A lot of the things that we're implementing is newer technology that can base literacy with the use of technology. We have now created a complete teen space, not a teen corner, a teen space. The third floor is allocated completely to what we call our teen and tween sector, young adults. Everything there is curated specifically for them. In addition to that, we have implemented a space planning initiative, which has rotated all the material collection, and that has allowed us to provide more meeting room spaces, specifically in our resource center, and now cultivating an art center rotation space that's in the entryway of our door. That's opened up our opportunities for more partnership, more expressions of the arts, having to do similarly with the themes we have for the month. For example, this month we had mental health awareness. We started our first director speaker series where we had Yvonne Casadanya speak about her book specifically geared towards mental health in our youth. And then one of the partnership with the art was with Elevated Thought artist, Melissa, and essentially that's what we want to continue to do. The library is essentially the original nonprofit. So instead of diversifying and spreading up our seeds as a city of Lawrence, I'm asking you to reconsider when the library comes up here to funding, to not think twice about it and ask the other institutions, the nonprofits and other organizations what they're doing specifically to work with what the municipality has already provided for them, which is our library. Our stats in 2002, we had attendance of 182,000 people attending our library. After the pandemic, those numbers went down to about 20,000. We are upticking that now, and we've reached 50,000. And that's not including our Event Keeper reservation platform. With adding that, we've already rented our space, and I'm sorry, rented because we don't charge for it. We have had our space requested 678 times, and that is not including the request from the city departments. So,
I think our stats speak for themselves, and a few of the things that we have coming up is our 50th anniversary, which I would hope for your attendance. We have two big things happening. We have our block party from 11 to 2. It's going to be happening at O'Neill Park, where we have over 25 vendors and organizations partnering us to do exactly what the library does, provide resources. And we also are ending with a National Endowment grant in partnership with a New York production to bring one of the first New York theater production to the city of Lawrence to cultivate the arts, and we have partnered with the Lawrence Public Schools to use their Performance Arts Center. I wouldn't even tell you the price mark on that grant. It's gonna be a one-time only performance, and it will happen from 7:00 p.m. that evening to essentially kick off the hopefully next 50 years of the institution. And it's called La Caída de Rafael Trujillo, the falling of Rafael Trujillo, which speaks volume. Oh, good, you have the ticket, excellent. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I think you're amazing. You, the library, the staff, all of you guys are amazing, and I think it's great that you're willing to also still have to speak to your predecessor and have that relationship to keep our library vibrant and going. I think that's very important. Two things. One, can you send us calendar invites for these events?
Absolutely.
Because
we would love to.
Because I see it on Facebook, but then sometimes I forget to put them on my calendar.
And a sneak peek, we have our new library website coming up June 10th as well.
Perfect.
Super user-friendly.
And then my second is, it probably will be more for the CAFL than you, Director, but I'm seeing under personnel services that there are 3 positions that we're decreasing the salary for. Is that due to the Collins report, or is that?
That was not due to the Collins report. That was because the children's librarian and the circulation coordinator were previous positions that were held by librarians that had a number of years. And so these new people, the people that stepped up to those positions, they had to start from grade 1.
Got it.
So then this is why, and then, you know, the union contract hasn't been resolved with the city and the director and
We're currently
and the
under union negotiations.
So they're currently, when that works its way up, then they'll work with their way back up.
Thank you. But I believe they can and deserve more. Okay.
Councilors, any questions in regard to the library? Councilor Levy, wave, que me va a pellicar.
Sí, me dijo que lo pellicara.
Yeah.
No, just only that they, to send the calendar through the email. It's more easy for us to get it than to, we can get like the flyers, but it's not the same. If at least monthly we got an email from the different things that you're going to have at the library, it will be good for us just to put it immediately in our
Point of
email.
clarification.
And I will say that we do have a newsletter that we just implemented, but I know that some of these events, it's important to remind the audience about it because we do actually do so much in the library itself, so it's important to do so.
So the issue with the newsletter, Director, I know for me, it goes to my spam. So that's why, I miss it. And the calendar invite is going to be easier, and we have a group like City Council email, so you just type in City Council and they'll send it to all of us.
Oh.
So you don't have to do it individually.
Oh, excellent. That's even right. And that's good to know because I'm going to find out why
That's
that's
what
happening.
I was wondering. It probably got to spam, I never see it.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
I'll look at my spams.
And another way is to send it to our secretary.
Okay.
Because she, as soon as she receives anything that is that has to be sent it to us, she immediately send it to everyone.
I'm glad. So you're not ghosting me is what you're saying, Anna. You're just not getting it. Okay, good. We'll make sure that happens.
Closing argument. We can see how far the library has gone. I mean, I can see it, how far you guys had made it. I remember the first meeting that you came to us, and you were nervous and reading, and now I'm amazed how she went, right? Like, she's flying. So I'm glad that you put up with everything the library was going through. I remember talking to you and
Tough times.
Councilor, we need help, and hopefully we can definitely get you what you guys needed.
Thank you, I
So
appreciate it. As a
congratulations.
building that runs 7 days out of the week and operate over 63 hours a week, it's important to have that support.
All right,
I thought
thank
this
you.
is a great way to close tonight with the
Wait, I
library.
have some questions. No, I always take advantage of those.
We're gonna get you
As soon
tickets.
as I have nothing to do during the long weekends, I go to the library.
Yeah, I know, right?
And the thing is like when I call, I don't say that I'm a city councilor. I just call or talk to whoever is there, and they just go. The conversation fluents, and all of a sudden I show up and say, "Oh, why you didn't say nothing?" Well, I don't have to. I mean, I'm a regular citizen.
Yeah, no, using our Tix Keeper, I use a lot of our museum cultural passes. We have over 300 requests for the museum passes, and we've had to put 181 people on hold because other people are using it as we circulate them. So we are looking into expanding that in the future.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you, how flexible those rooms from the libraries are to the community?
How flexible are the tickets?
The rooms,
The
the
rooms,
they
so we
have.
make it fair for everyone, and that's why we implemented the Event Keeper platform as a first-come, first-served basis upon approval. The reason why is that those applications were eventually submitted through like a document, physical documents, and sometimes some organizations, which they want presidents, whether it's a municipality, but we think that as a public institution, we need to be fair in how we disseminate our spaces, and we make sure that everyone appropriately plans for their organizations and their programs. With that being said, through Event Keeper, we've realized that we're able to keep statistics more uniform, and they're able to request things that we have enough time to prepare for. For example, projector, the technology setup, a chair, and all that is from staff. So the appropriate time is what we need.
Yeah, but essentially that's what I wanted to get, because I see that, as far as I understood, those rooms availability were made available to non-profit organizations that were related to a specific non-profit or perhaps organization that provides services. Are those rooms that are being renting out to organizations, or they been making it available to those organizations, or it isn't a small fee? How that work?
Well, thank you for asking that, because that's one of the things that we're really brainstorming right now. During our hours of operation, we do not charge for our meeting room space. It's just part of our policy, and any library program takes precedence over that space request. And we want to make that sure because we essentially serve the whole community. In addition to that, if it's out of the hours of operation, we just actually increased our meeting room request fee to $50 the hour from the original $20 the hour. And that really is just to help us cover costs of overtime and the administration to have to be there after hours.
So it went from 20 to 50.
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, from 35 to 50.
30.
Mm-hmm.
Able to pay for $50.
And we
Do
just-
you guys have a grant program? You guys evaluate the situation and
Mm.
provide a grant?
Not at this time, we have not looked at that, and that's really because most of the events, because we're open from 9 to 8, Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays and Sundays, we noticed that most of these events happen between that time frame, so it never presents to be an issue for that fee. When we do work out, like, let's say, the summer hours, where we don't have that, when we do go into our 9 to 5 weeks without the weekends, then normally these organizations are used to utilizing the space and aware that there's a meeting fee associated to it. Now, if it's a program, that is specifically geared towards the public, like Lawrence Academy, Lawrence Partnership, Citizenship Academy now? Or Lawrence We Know? Sorry, We Are Lawrence, that's a program that's free to the public, and then they organize it on Thursdays. That happens on the evenings we are open in the summer.
Is the rooms are available for for-profit organizations?
Everyone. We cannot discriminate. It could be for any purpose as long as it's serving the community. We have, one of the things that is not commonly done, and that's really because obviously, like birthday party. Birthday party, maybe other libraries do it. It'll be an idea for some revenue probably in the future and something we're experimenting with. But what we notice is that when we are a library, we want to make sure that people feel that they have access to whatever's happening around them. So the intention is if you have a birthday party and only a few people are invited to it, but the library is public, then they should be invited to the birthday as well. So we haven't crossed those fine lines until we kind of look into the policy, but there is opportunity for that. And that's where we always ask, well, you know, the library is supposed to be essentially a free resource to the community, but in the world we live in, and I understand as well the city, we want to make sure that there's also a possibility, if it's able to do so, to create some revenue to cover those costs. And normally they just go back to staff.
And my question is come through because there is people wondering that always thought that those were specific for non-for-profit or organizations that are related to the community or government or something like that. Not like an individual show up and say, look, I have a business, I wanted to get those spaces and then be able to rent it.
They're more
So
than
those are the difference. I don't know if you guys find out about that, you know, do the research, the board knows about it, and those are the type of things.
We can have that. The only thing is that they cannot sell any products in our library. Our policy states that if they do or any charges are being made, 10% of the proceeds must go back to the city, which is the library. But there is a policy for that.
But an event that happened some time ago,
we were made aware, and we have reached out.
Clients come out of that.
We were made aware.
We're not getting there. You know what I'm talking about.
We were made aware. Why we were made aware, and that's what I want. This is the perfect platform to say this. We are aware of our meeting room policy. We can't be everywhere at once. But because the City of Lawrence is the City of Lawrence, if I deny you a meeting room request because your intentions is to sell something, and then I accept somebody and I'm not aware that you are selling something, but that person has made me aware because they're attending your event and they realize that they are selling something, it gets back to me and we reach out to make sure that you're aware of the meeting room policy that you signed off an agreement to when you request a space. So
You
whether
see
you
how
decided
things-
to read the fine print or not, now it's the obligation of your organization.
But you see how things go around?
What comes around goes, or goes around comes around?
Yeah, I mean, it comes to this table during the budget season. I mean, it's something that we gotta triple check on those type of things. And we wanna make sure that, you know, those rooms are available. And essentially, we need to ensure that that's happening for the community, not for a particular business.
And with the space planning, again, we've just added more opportunities for that to happen.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Councilors, any question about the library? I hear none, so I would like, I entertain a motion to,
Second.
I entertain a motion to, to recess, and it's properly second. And I call the question. Any questions on this? None. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Bye.